Welcome back to the experience that is, of course, the Mac Music Review experience. In this fateful episode, we are going to be talking about another TobyMac album. This one is called Eye on It. Eye on It saw TobyMac going in a much more trendy direction. It was 2013, and electronic music and EDM started entering the mainstream, into the mainstream world of pop music, that is. And that is seen throughout this album in the production, in the structure of the song, in basically everything. You are getting TobyMac kind of trying to go in a pop direction, when in the album before, Tonight, he kind of went in a rock direction with songs like Hey Devil and Tonight, and then in a worshipful direction. And this doesn't really have a lot of worship music. There is the song Speak Life, which does have that generic sort of worshipful Christian pop vibe, but the rest of the stuff on here is a lot more upbeat and frankly a lot more interesting than most of the stuff going on in Christian contemporary music today. Two of the tracks on this album even lean into EDM or dubstep, those being the title track and Unstoppable. These songs that are just really repetitive, doesn't have a lot going on. There's almost like a rapped verse on Unstoppable, and then Eye on It, just repeating it with these blaring, to this day, I mean, by today's standards, very corny, very cheesy EDM that, in my opinion, somehow actually works fairly well, mostly speaking from nostalgia here, I believe. At other points in the runtime, in the track list, the album is overwhelmingly sweet and sentimental, like on Made for Me, where TobyMac basically serades his wife and talks about how she's like a polar opposite of him, but how she's perfect for him and how she was made for him, and it's kind of a sweet song. And then you have Favorite Song with Jamie Grace, who, if you know Jamie Grace, she's kind of known for her sickeningly sweet, upbeat Christian pop music back in the 2010s. Completely irrelevant artist now, but she was at the time pretty significant, and she's featured on Favorite Song. As far as another feature goes that's worth shouting out, Lecrae on the song Forgiveness, at the time in 2013, the biggest Christian rapper out there. And he's just featured on this song for a rather corny verse that just feels very tacked on, and not a lot of creative flavor or passion put into this verse. Despite all of these negative sounding things, these sickeningly sweet music that just really overly sentimental and positive, and then you have this other stuff that's just a different tone, and the EDM and the 2010s pop music, almost all of it works pretty freaking well, in my opinion. There really are only two tracks on the album that do sort of rub me in the wrong direction, those being Speak Life and Mac Daddy, ironically, even though it's kind of a funny song. But Speak Life, like I said, it really does feel kind of generic, especially lyrically speaking. It is going for this very vague sense of uplifting spirituality that's kind of frustrating to hear. And I don't think the rest of the album really has this problem. It's really just this song that just feels like it's trying to appeal to the widest common denominator, trying not to offend anyone, and just trying to appeal to literally everyone in the most clean and sanitary way possible. But even then, the song has some nostalgic, some sentimental value for me. So I grew up listening to this song, and I grew up with this album. So I really can't hate the song that much, I would say, just for that nostalgic purposes. Otherwise, I wouldn't really like it. And then Mac Daddy is one of the continuations of these Tru cuts, which is TobyMac's son Tru, who would do a track on each album or contribute in some way as he was getting older. And this one, he's a little bit older. He's actually trying to rap. And instead of doing just a very short, 1 minute, 30-second interlude, it's almost like a full-length song. It's 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But it is still a joke song. It doesn't sound horrible, but at the same time, I don't think anyone would actually listen to this unironically. I don't really... It doesn't have a place on any playlist, or really... barely a place on the album, besides keeping up with the tradition of having Tru on every album. Yeah, besides that, all of this works. All of it works. It's unbelievable. Even the EDM tracks, they work for me. It's not stuff that I'm going to be listening to regularly, but I think it is just more than serviceable for what it is, and I think everything does fit on the album. Me Without You, Steal My Show are really good. Lose Myself, all those upbeat pop Christian songs. Forgiveness is a pretty strong track with some pretty strong lyrical content. Excuse me as I grab my phone. Family is really sweet and emotional. So is Made for Me. Favorite song is pretty good, and so is Thankful for You. I gotta be honest, like it's just great. It's just somehow great Christian contemporary music. It's doing a bunch of different styles, different attitudes, different tones, and it's all sticking. There's no reason for the album being as good as it is. Besides nostalgia, like if I didn't grow up listening to this CD on a CD player, literally a CD, it was like a clock CD player hybrid, then I probably wouldn't care as much. But the album, I've grown up with it, and I can safely say that today, I could still bump any of these tracks and enjoy them just fine. And I think for what this album is in the world of Christian contemporary music, it's very good. Like for its genre, even for 2013 and the time period, like I can't really complain with this. It's fun, uplifting, and it just hits the mark in basically every single thing it's going for, besides Mac Daddy and Speak Life. And I'm giving the album 4 stars out of 5. Feels weird. It feels weird to give such a positive score to something that on paper should just be really bad. Like if you just describing the album, it sounded very negative, but like even favorite song is kind of a bop. Even favorite song works pretty well. Even that Jamie Grace feature goes over pretty well. Shouldn't though. It really shouldn't. Thanks for watching the video. Have a great rest of your day.